car chief got dragged out of the garage by NASCAR officials before a single lap had even been run, and that single moment set off the wildest, most unpredictable night this sport has seen all year. Everybody walked into Chicagoland expecting a coronation. Denny Hamlin grabbed the pole by a margin so thin it barely qualifies as a margin, 1/1000th of a second separating him from Kyle Larson. 1/1000th. Blink and you'd miss the difference. The storyline writes itself, right? Hamlin dominant, Hamlin in control, Hamlin cruising toward another statement win. Except nothing about this race went the way the script was written. Not for Hamlin. Not for Larson. Not for the championship leader who was supposed to be tightening his grip on the points battle. By the time the checkered flag fell after 267 laps at Chicagoland Speedway, the entire pre-race narrative had been shredded and rebuilt from scratch. And the man standing in victory lane was someone almost nobody had circled on their prediction sheet. Here's how the chaos actually began. Saturday afternoon, pre-race inspection. NASCAR runs every single car through the tech line before the lineup gets locked in, and Larson's number 5 Chevrolet does not pass. Fails once. Then it fails a second time. Under NASCAR's rulebook, 2 strikes is enough to trigger real, tangible punishment, not a slap on the wrist. Larson's car chief, Jesse Saunders, gets physically removed from the property for the rest of the weekend. On top of that, the team forfeits its pit stall selection for Sunday's race entirely. That penalty sounds small if you don't understand how pit road actually works. It is not small. Pit stall position controls how fast every single stop can be executed. A bad stall location adds fractions of a second to every visit down pit road, and across a race with more than 24 scheduled stops, those fractions stack up into a real, measurable disadvantage. It's not an inconvenience. It's a structural handicap built into the car before the green flag even drops. So Larson qualifies second, missing the pole by that razor-thin thousandth of a second, and then gets assigned pit stall number 40. Dead last. The second fastest car on the property, starting the race with the worst possible support behind it. Now put that next to what happened to Michael McDowell at the exact same inspection line. His number 71 Spire Motorsports Chevrolet failed not once, not twice, but 3 separate times. NASCAR didn't even let him attempt a qualifying lap after that. His car chief, Travis Young, got ejected right alongside Larson's. McDowell was sent to the back of the field entirely, 38th position, and forced to serve a pass-through penalty the second the green flag waved, essentially punishing him before the race had even truly begun. 2 teams, same inspection line, same afternoon, 2 completely different levels of consequence. And that gap says everything about how seriously modern NASCAR treats inspection failures. 1 mistake costs you track position. 3 mistakes cost you your entire night before it starts. Now let's get into the race itself. Sunday evening, green flag drops on the first Cup Series race at Chicagoland in 7 years. Hamlin jumps out front from the pole. Larson claws his way up from that brutal pit stall assignment, pushing from the outside line through the opening laps. For a stretch, it genuinely looks like the pre-race hype was earned. Then William Byron takes over the night completely. He sweeps stage 1 from the front. He sweeps stage 2 as well, back-to-back stage victories, 94 laps led before the final stage even begins. That is the kind of dominance that, on almost any other night, walks straight into victory lane. But lap 93 changes the entire complexion of the race. Larson, running third, exits turn 4 and simply loses the car. A single car spin sends him sliding off the racing surface and burying the number 5 deep in the infield grass. Safety crews have to physically extract him. The same driver who fought his way back into contention after starting with a decimated pit crew position is now buried a lap down, and that winless streak, the one everyone thought might finally end at Chicagoland, stretches to 43 races and counting. While Larson's car is getting pulled from the grass, the championship picture is quietly rearranging itself in the background. Tyler Reddick arrived at Chicagoland trailing Hamlin by a single point, needing a big result to reassert control of the points lead. Instead, his number 45 Toyota suffers a mechanical failure, the 4th time in 5 races this has happened to him. The car heads to the garage. It eventually returns to the track, but Reddick finishes multiple laps down, watching the points lead he built earlier this season continue to erode race after race. And Hamlin, who had talked before the race about running his own game, about being the veteran who taught the younger Hendrick drivers everything they know, doesn't win either. He crosses the line third. Christopher Bell surges over the closing laps to finish second. The winner of the night at Chicagoland is Chase Briscoe. Briscoe started seventh, a qualifying result that put him nowhere near the front row conversation on Saturday. But he was patient, methodical. He never led in the opening stage, never led in the second stage, just kept stacking clean finishes and flawless pit stops while chaos consumed the drivers around him. When Reddick's engine broke, when Larson buried his car in the grass, when Byron faded in the closing stage after all that dominance, Briscoe was exactly where he needed to be. He held off Bell in the final laps and took his first win of the 2026 season, his fourth career Cup Series victory since joining Joe Gibbs Racing. So what does all of this actually mean for the championship battle? Hamlin leaves Chicagoland still holding the points lead. A third-place finish with stage points, combined with Reddick's mechanical trouble, means Hamlin's cushion over his nearest rival just grew again. The driver who took the points lead by a single point a few races ago is now quietly building the kind of gap that gets harder and harder to close. And here's the number that should genuinely worry anyone backing the 23XI racing camp. Reddick has now suffered a significant mechanical issue in 4 of his last 5 races. 4 out of 5. Power steering failure at one track. Costly issues at another that likely cost him a win outright. And now another trip to the garage at Chicagoland. This is a driver who dominated the first half of the season with 5 wins. And right now he's fighting his own equipment just as hard as he's fighting the field. The points gap keeps growing in real time, and it's not because Reddick has slowed down. It's because his car keeps failing underneath him. Then there's William Byron, whose night deserves its own separate story entirely. 94 laps led. Back-to-back stage wins. Genuinely dominant start to finish through 2 stages, and he still comes home fourth. That's the brutal reality of NASCAR's modern stage format. You can control a race for 200-plus laps and still watch the final stretch slip away on strategy or misfortune. Byron finishes the night with more laps led than anyone else on the property and 0 trophy to show for it. But there's a silver lining buried in that frustration. Byron still gained points. He banked maximum stage points across 2 dominant stages and picked up positions late. Despite Larson's spin and the pre-race inspection chaos, Hendrick Motorsports still leaves Chicagoland with real, tangible gains on the board. That's the difference between an elite organization and everyone else. Even a night that ends in disappointment still produces results that matter 3 months from now. Now for the drivers fighting for their playoff lives. Michael McDowell, already sitting outside the chase cutoff line heading into Chicagoland, started dead last and immediately had to serve a pass-through penalty on the green flag. Whatever hope he had of clawing back into playoff position before the cutoff just got measurably harder to reach. And Brad Keselowski, who desperately needed a strong run to snap a 4-race slide that had dropped him 13 points below the cutoff line, found no relief here either. The pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. Every single week a bubble driver fails to deliver under pressure is another week the locked-in drivers extend their cushion, and the remaining schedule isn't getting any friendlier for the names sitting on the wrong side of that line. Here's the breakdown of what actually matters going forward. First, Chase Briscoe's win sends a message about Joe Gibbs Racing's depth that the standings haven't fully caught up to yet. Hamlin sits atop the points. Ty Gibbs sits fourth. And now Briscoe has a win nobody outside the JGR camp expected. That's 3 drivers from one organization positioned at or near the top of the sport, with victories spread across the roster. If Joe Gibbs Racing manages to land 2 of those 3 drivers into the championship for at Phoenix, the entire title math shifts dramatically in their favor. Second, Kyle Larson's Chicagoland weekend was really 2 completely different stories stitched together. His pre-race team showed real resilience, absorbing an inspection penalty and an ejected car chief and still clawing back into top 3 contention by lap 93. Then a single turn wiped all of it away in an instant. The winless streak now sits at 43 races and climbing, but the raw speed hasn't disappeared. The car is clearly still capable of running at the front. And the next oval on the schedule is Atlanta, a track where Larson has historically been one of the most dangerous, most explosive drivers in the entire field. Third, Tyler Reddick's championship defense is starting to look far more fragile than anyone predicted 2 months ago. 5 wins before the mid-season road course stretch, a 129-point lead at one point. He was the story of the first half of the season, full stop. And right now his car is breaking down at exactly the wrong moments on exactly the wrong weekends. If the mechanical failures continue into Atlanta, the lead Hamlin is quietly stacking up becomes the kind of gap that requires an outright win to erase. Not a top 5, not a top 10, a win. And Reddick hasn't visited victory lane in a long stretch now. So here's the real question heading into Atlanta. Can Tyler Reddick fix whatever's breaking his car before the playoffs actually begin? Or does Denny Hamlin walk into the postseason with a points cushion so large it makes him almost impossible to eliminate? Drop your prediction below. I genuinely want to know where you land on this one. And if this breakdown kept you hooked from the first line to the last, do one simple thing for me. Hit that subscribe button. This channel exists because of viewers like you who care enough to sit through every twist and turn of a race weekend like this one. And every subscription helps this kind of in-depth storytelling keep reaching more fans who deserve to see it. It genuinely means something. We'll be back next week from Atlanta Motor Speedway with everything you need heading into one of the most unpredictable ovals left on the NASCAR schedule.